Thank you for joining us again today on this podcast. Nadini Ochieng is my name. And I believe from the topic of last week that we tackled, the glass balls, I believe that now you are on the path of making some changes, especially in your life. So today we have a topic with us, the discomfort of change. Now that you handled those glass balls, the discomfort of change. So with me today,
Newton Ciela, and it's always a pleasure to be here at Coaching for Impact and looking forward to a fantastic discussion.
Beautiful. Now, Newton, we've talked about change here many times. And I want to tell you as a confession, I'm one person who really doesn't like the discomfort of change. So the topic today hits home for me. What would be your opening remarks on the discomfort of change?
Oh, no pain, no gain.
Wow.
You know, I started this month, and I was telling myself, and I think we discussed about the glass balls, about health. I had an incident when I had to go to hospital, and I remember the doctor asking me, so how often are you cutting down on these things? You know, your age and everything else. And one of the commitments I was making in my head is that I really need to stop taking sugar, you know. And it's something as small as just stopping to put sugar. Yes. And it sort of signifies the battle that we go through when we are trying to change. You know, really from something as small as trying to just adopt a diet to try and help you for your lifestyle, to the changes that we have to make in terms of our entire life. And I think we don't appreciate how much that discomfort helps us, shapes us, and probably really tunes us to be prepared. Yes.
I think when we talk about discomfort, Newton, we are talking about something that doesn't give you rest or peace. It's something that keeps you disturbed, right? So if I am making changes in my life that I'm not feeling disturbed, or I'm not feeling any pain, or it's not a sacrifice, is it really change?
No, it most likely could be taking a shortcut. And we as human beings love shortcuts. And I think that's why you find that I always say, and maybe I'm just leaning back to this, where somebody says that I'll stop taking sugar, but I'll take a sugar-free option. Is that really a discomfort of change? If it comes to your career and you realize that you need to sacrifice so that you can be able to become better at doing something, it means you need to, instead of sleeping for your usual 8 hours, I need to sleep for 6 hours so I can be able to. So that pain that you feel is what, to me, again, it's like going through fire, right? It's what helps you to become better. So if you're not feeling the discomfort, then it's unlikely that you're really preparing yourself for that change.
So basically what you're saying, if you're not feeling the discomfort, you are not yet in the fire of change.
Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about... Let's talk about social media, right? Because I know we have people here who are going to be watching, and some of them are actually scrolling on TikTok. If you don't, for example, feel, and we should say you can disconnect. We have talked about it here. You can switch off and say that for the next 1 week. In fact, I've seen people now coming up with these phone-free options or phone-free afternoons, right? Where you don't touch it. And you keep feeling this urge, you want to go back to your phone. That's the discomfort we're talking about that you have to sustain. Yeah.
A friend of mine gave me one on the phone that I felt was really good. I actually am going to implement it. So he told me he saw the addiction, and he realized that it was where it was going. He was not now having a good family time with his family. And so he told me nowadays he leaves his phone in the car. So he gets home from work and leaves his... So in the house, they have this Mulika Mwizi phone. So that's what they use now in the house. And I felt there is a good action point. So what will be the action points, Newton, you would tell someone who is longing to make this change in their life, and they are feeling, okay, the discomfort is there, I don't feel, but what will be the action points? Because without action points, we can always think we are going to change, but we don't change. So
it's a very good point, Pasi, because usually when you talk about change, and for me, this would be my take-home message. When you talk about change, you talk about being in a comfort zone, right? But after the comfort zone, we have what is called the fear zone. And I'm beginning to think that maybe we should be calling it the discomfort zone. Because that fear zone is where there's uncertainty. You don't know what will happen. You have to go through a very difficult time. But yet it is what you have to go through for you to learn to be able to then grow. Right? So for me, I think what I would challenge our those who are listening on our podcast, those who are watching today, that you really have to face that discomfort head on and ask yourself, am I prepared? Because if you're not, what's the point of starting in the first place?
Wow.
Yes.
So we are saying embrace the challenge. Don't run away from the challenge. What about the place of accountability? Should there be an accountable system where you are put in check to make sure that indeed you are in that zone, as you are calling?
No,
the zone for
absolutely,
change?
absolutely. I think the first step is to face the discomfort. It's going to be there, it's going to be painful, but you have to keep focusing on what you're trying to achieve. And I think like what you're saying, it could be family time. It could be a career growth. It means you're sacrificing. It could be trying to balance your health, living a much more healthier life. So you have to cut.
Financial
Yes,
investment
you have
for-
to cut on meat. You have to cut on bread. You have to cut on wheat. Things that we think, oh, we're used to being sweet. Or like you said, you have to save a lot more than what you're spending. So you have to adjust your lifestyle.
That's true.
That tightening of the belt, as we like to call it, means that you will feel the pain. And that, for me, I think would really be the core message. The discomfort of change is necessary. Is necessary.
And I think today there is no better place to end it as that. And earlier we were discussing just about families and the issues that come with that and the decisions people have to make in life. So one of the things I want to leave with our audience today is that if you're talking about maybe relationships, if you're talking about, as my colleague has said, work, if you're talking about investment, now all these things come at a cost. Now, the reality is that if you have a sweet tooth towards cake, I am not. That one I cannot help you. I'm not a cake person. But you have a sweet tooth.
Some of us are guilty. Yes.
Yeah, then the reality is you have to be uncomfortable and avoid those spaces where you're exposed to this cake. You know, even the craving is there, yes, but you have to find something else to do that will help you to save that money you're spending on cake. Accountability system is key for me. And as I leave you today, can you put a system in place just to make sure that you're staying in the zone? So that if you're out of the zone, it means you've gone back to what you're used to. So please put a system in place. Have friends around you, not friends who've been enabling you, but friends who are pushing you to get out of that place that you're trying to run away from. And make sure you are in the fire yourself. If it's at workplace and maybe you've not been handling relationships at work well, can you expose yourself to that person who offends you? Because they help you understand basically where you stand at. And that's the best place for me to end this podcast. May you have a wonderful time, Newton.
Absolutely. For me, change is something that as human beings we don't like, but it's that discomfort that refines us. It's the one that sees us through that particular fire. So don't be afraid for of the discomfort that will come, but be prepared, because it's through that change that you become a better person. Thank you so much and have a blessed day. See you again in our next podcast.
See you.